Welcome to the world of hydroponics. Hydroponics is basically a subject that comes broadly under soil-less cultivation. And what I'm going to now start is by just giving you a small introduction. Mostly plants are grown in soil all around the world. But then about 60 years ago, someone by the name Dr. William Gehrig, he actually gave a kind of a semblance of a science to soil-less cultivation. Hydroponics actually stands for hydro and ponos, and hydro actually means in Latin water, and ponos actually means in Greek working. So it actually means working with water or water working. But that is when plants are given irrigation along with nutrition, and the roots are wetted by the water, and the plants pick up their nutrients for growth. There are other methodologies as well in soil-less cultivation where we use different kinds of substrates which are absolutely sterile and clean, and they do not contain any soil-borne diseases or microorganisms. So one among them is coco peat, which is rampantly available in our country. It's plenty, and there are companies that actually make sterile coco peat in this country. So here at this exhibition, we are actually creating a live hydroponic garden so that the visitors who come for the Agri-Intex agricultural exhibition at Coimbatore, they're able to actually see how plants are being grown in soil-less media. So as you can see, these plants here have been growing now for almost 25 days, and they are growing quite well. As you can see, we have different kinds of vegetables growing, like cucumber, we have pumpkin, we have green chili, we have lady's finger, we have radish, amaranthus, Chinese kale, coriander, spinach, tomato, and various different kinds of plants. The idea is to show the public how plants are grown in soil-less cultivation. What you're seeing here is my boys are actually hydrating the coco peat. The coco peat comes in 5 kilo blocks, and they're in a dry condition. So when you actually start adding water to the coco peat block, you'll find that they hydrate and they expand. So a 5 kg block, when it is fully hydrated, you will get 30 kgs, 30 liters of quantity of material. So here, these are very large troughs in which we are getting the bed ready now, and in about an hour from now, we'll have actually transplanted a lot of plants into these various 4 troughs that you see in front. And coco peat is a very good substrate because it's got very good qualities of water holding capacity, it's got good aeration, and it's got porosity. Most plants love to have a lot of oxygen at the root level. When you have more oxygen at the root level, you get less number of diseases at the root level, and also the plants are able to take up their nutrients in a much better way. So oxygen availability to plant at the root level is a very important factor. In hydroponics, we actually make sure that the root zone is always under check, and it's being tested and checked on almost a regular basis to make sure that everything is happening in a very perfect manner. So you can see some of the plants have already erupted, they germinated, some are still waiting to germinate, and once they start growing here, we keep them here till they reach a certain stage, and when they're ready for transplant, we transplant them into horticultural bags or different grow bags or any other troughs. We have 2 kinds of hydroponics. One is simple hydroponics and one is commercial hydroponics. Simple hydroponics basically is so simple that you can use recyclable materials, and you can grow food at home using recycled materials. You can actually see that I have collected these boxes which were left behind by some exhibitors, and I've just put polypropylene sheets inside and put some coco peat, and I'm watering them every day with nutrients. And if you look here, we even conserve water This is a little drain that you have here, and we have a bottle. We just keep the bottle here, and this is sloped by about 5 degrees. So all the excess nutrient water that flows out is not wasted. It is collected in the bottle and once again used for the plant, because they are very pure and good quality of nutrient. So as you can see, in hydroponic, the savings of water itself is more than 10%. I mean, we just use about 10% of the water that's used in soil cultivation. And the best part is, in hydroponic, we don't get any weeds. Like you can see here, these plants, there are no weeds at all, because this material here, this coco peat, this is sterile medium, so you don't get any weeds at all. And because we have a shade net here, it also cuts out a lot of weed seeds that fly in the air. Here you can see, this is actually simple hydroponics. You can grow a lot of vegetables at home. This particular one, what I'm going to show you, is basically, plants growing in just water, and you can see the roots as well. So the water contains nutrients, and every day in the morning, one of us who come to the garden first, we actually shake up the water with our hands, and we create air bubbles. So we oxygenate the water by aerating it. In simple hydroponics, you don't need to actually use even 1 watt of electricity or any kind of fossil energy. So which is a big plus in these modern times, when we have so many different problems for energy and the rising costs of energy. So as you can see, in a 10 square feet garden, 100 square feet garden at home, you can grow assorted vegetables. You can even grow up to harvest up to 1 kilogram of vegetables every single day, which is more than sufficient for a small family of 4 people. See, here is what we call a pheromone trap. These are basically traps that you use to attract the insects which come towards the plants, and they are caught inside this plastic, or they fall into the water here, and make sure that these insects don't attack the plants, because you have a very strong pheromone here that attracts them and brings them to their death. So that way you can keep away a lot of pests in the garden. You have different kinds of pheromone traps. You can see one here, the yellow one. You've got this type, you've got this type. People use them even in open field cultivation. We can even use them if required in greenhouses. These are meant for actually catching pests, which are flying pests. It also helps us to keep a track of what kind of insect activity is happening inside the greenhouse. Why blue and yellow is because insects get attracted to these colors. That's been found out by research. So we have a little bit of light grease which is anointed on them. Find that the insects come and get stuck on them. I'm just going to explain you here about drip irrigation in hydroponics. Now here we have a coco peat medium, and you can see grow bags here, and you can see troughs there. So you can grow in different kinds of containers and different kinds of crucibles, as I mentioned. And here we are demonstrating the drip irrigation system. You can see these pipelines here and the laterals, and you can see the little drippers here. Now through this, there is a small little valve that you can adjust, and you can adjust the flow of water. So as I said, in hydroponics, we don't want too much water to be given to the plants at a given time, and we just give plants the water when they really require it. And in this water, we also add nutrients, and sometimes we just give only water, but sometimes we also add the nutrient and give nutrient water. We also call this term as fertigation. So what happens here is all the plants get the same amount of water at the same time. That's why you can see there is even growth of the plants. They grow as if it looks more like a plant factory, where all the plants grow together. They have the same kind of health. They are given the same environment. They are given the same biopesticides, and they are looked after with equal concern. So that's how you get very healthy plants, and they give you very high yield, and they live up to their genetic potential. Normally we put that it's a submersible pump, and we pump the water through these drippers and through these lines. If someone wants to do it in a more cheaper fashion, he can even have a tank which is kept at a reasonable height of say 1.5 to 2 meters above the ground, and you can actually give drip irrigation by gravity, which means you don't need to spend any money on power. And here, as I said, we are using fans so that there is breeze, because in this place we are having a slightly higher humidity level, so we are maintaining circulation of air so that the plants don't get the same humidity landing up on their leaves and things like that. So we have about 5 to 6 fans in the shade house.